Today we're going to be looking at how to solve one-step subtraction equations. We have a couple of examples that we're going to work through together here, so let's get started. For question number 1, we're being asked to solve for the value of n. And as we can see up top here highlighted in yellow, in order for us to isolate our variable of n in this problem, we're going to have to perform the inverse or the opposite operation of whatever has been done to n. Basically, we're going to be undoing whatever has been done to our variable so that we can isolate that variable. So here for question number 1, we're subtracting 22 from n. So in order for us to isolate our variable of n, we're going to need to perform the opposite operation of whatever's being done to our variable of n. Well, the opposite operation of subtraction is addition, so we're going to add 22 onto the left side of this problem, but that brings up a very important point. As we can see up top highlighted in blue, we need to make sure that we're keeping both sides equal. So we need to keep both sides of this equation equal. So since on the left-hand side we're adding 22, we need to do the same thing to the right side of the equation as well. So we're going to be adding 22 on the right side as well. So now that we've done the opposite operation here, on the left-hand side of this problem, the plus 22 and the subtracting 22 cancel each other out. So now our variable of n is isolated. And then when we add 34 and 22, we get 56. So n equals 56. And if we want to double check this, we can do this by simply just plugging in the value for n into the equation that we just did. So we have 56 minus 22 equals 34. And when we take away 22 from 56, we get 34. And since both sides of this equation are equal, it means that n is in fact worth 56. Now moving on to question number 2, where this time we're being asked to figure out the value of x. So remembering that the first thing we need to do to isolate this variable is we need to perform the opposite operation of whatever is being done to our variable. And here we're subtracting 15 from x. So in order for us to isolate our variable of x, we're going to perform the opposite operation, and the opposite operation of subtraction is addition. So we're going to add 15 on our left-hand side, and since we need to keep this equal, we're going to do the same thing to our right side as well. Well, the subtracting 15 and the adding 15 cancel each other out, which is going to isolate our variable of x. And when we add 45 and 15, we get 60. So that means that x is equal to 60. And if we want to double check this, just like we did for the first problem, we're going to plug in the value for x in this equation. So we had 60 minus 15 equals 45. And when we subtract 15 from 60, we get 45. So that means that x is in fact worth 60 because both sides of this equation are equal. So let's try a couple more problems here to make sure we have this down. I encourage you to pause this video and give these questions a shot on your own, and then we're going to work through the problems together. So for question number 3, we're being asked to figure out the value of n in this problem. So the first thing we need to do is we need to isolate for a variable of n by performing the opposite operation of whatever is being done to n in this problem. Well, here we're subtracting 11 from n, so we're going to do the opposite of adding 11 to our left-hand side, and then we need to make this problem equal, so we need to do the same thing to our right side as well. Well, subtracting 11 and adding 11 cancels each other out, so now our variable of n is isolated, and then when we add 22 and 11, we get 33, so n equals 33. And if we want to double check this, we can just plug in the value for n into the equation above. So we have 33 minus 11 equals 22. And when we take away 11 from 33, we get 22, and since both sides of this equation are balanced, they're equal, that means that n does in fact equal 33. Now moving on to question number 4, where this time we're being asked to calculate the value of x. So the first thing we need to do is we need to perform the opposite of subtracting 22, because that's what's being done to our variable here. And we know that the opposite of subtracting 22 is adding 22, and we need to make sure that we do this to both sides of the equation because we have to keep things equal. So on the left-hand side here, we're also going to be adding 22. Well, our subtracting 22 and adding 22 on our right-hand side cancel each other out. So now our x is isolated. And then when we add 22 onto 15, we get 37. And we're going to flip these around here so that our variable comes first. So x is equal to 37. And if we want to double check this just to make sure that we have the right answer, well, we can just plug in our value for x. So we have 15 equals 22 minus 37. And when we take away 22 from 37, we're left with 15. And since both sides of this equation are equal, it means that we do in fact have the right answer. X is equal to 37. So hopefully by now you understand how to solve one-step subtraction equations. Help make math less complicated by smashing those like and subscribe buttons. As always, enjoy today's math journey.